And we should make it easier for public employees to work day in and day out to serve the people of Florida and the nation. Your membership deserves respect and appreciation for the great work you do. But for some reason, some politicians don't see it that way. Let me give you a couple examples from my own state. I'm running against a guy who said the idea of raising the minimum wage makes him cringe. Unbelievable. He cut education, his first year as our governor, by $1.3 billion and gave huge tax breaks to big corporations. He cut college scholarships in half and was giving tax breaks to the wealthy at the same time. He's played political games with the retirement security of public employees all over my Florida. I'm running against a guy who has left tens of billions of dollars desperately needed from our federal friends on the table because he simply disagrees with President Barack Obama. Listen, I support the president, and I'm sure there are some issues I may disagree with him on, but accepting money that would have given nearly 1 million Floridians health care, creating about 64,000 good jobs, building a cutting-edge high-speed rail line that would create thousands of jobs more, that's a no-brainer. Rick Scott supported an Arizona-style immigration law. He signed legislation granting in-state tuition to dreamers, but refused to sign legislation allowing them to get driver's licenses. Good luck getting to class. The man even said he would have not taken stimulus funding at the height of the Great Recession. To which I say, which of the 20,000 Florida teachers that would have been laid off would you have fired? Like too many politicians in our country, he's out of touch, and he's out for himself. And he thinks things are fine because things are going well for those at the top. He doesn't fight for middle-class families and those who have been left behind because he doesn't understand the stress we're under. Still, things close to the wrong-headed notion that the best way to grow the economy is from the top down. So if you think that way, then it makes sense to give huge tax breaks to the wealthy, even as you refuse to raise the minimum wage. And if you think that way, it makes sense to cut education and cut scholarship, and then turn around and give hundreds of millions of dollars to big corporations. But what we've seen time and again is that's not the right way to grow our economy. We see it in the inequality of our communities. We see it in the faces of the families and the workers who are left behind, even as big corporations see record profits. Growing from the top down doesn't work for anyone other than those at the top. The right way to grow our economy is from the middle class out. Expanding the middle class, helping lift more families into the middle class is the only way to create sustainable economic growth in America. And it's the right thing to do. What does that mean? How do we invest in the middle class? First and foremost, we invest in public education because education is the key to everything else. Everything else. Listen, I'm a public school kid. I have 3 sisters I love dearly. 2 of those 3 sisters have been public school teachers in Florida, and my father served on the school board when I was a kid. A high-quality education is critical to helping individuals lift themselves up. It is also important for our economy as a whole. Because think about this. What's the sense in creating good-paying jobs and then not preparing our kids to fill them? So we need to prepare our kids. But we have to know how to create good-paying jobs. Instead of focusing only on big corporations, we need to invest in our small businesses and help them grow. We need to invest in infrastructure, renewable energy, cutting-edge technologies that believe we've gotten away from. If we do these things, if we give our kids a quality education, and we invest in our communities, then we'll ensure that everyone has a fair shot at success. But for too many Floridians right now, it doesn't feel fair. It feels like the deck is stacked against us. It doesn't feel like their government or their governor is looking out for us. In fact, it feels like the only time the governor isn't looking out for special interests is when he's looking out to share those extreme, out-of-touch ideologies And that's the worst of both worlds. And it's been bad for our Florida. And what's true in Florida is true in Washington, D.C. and states across our country. One wing of one party is making it impossible for us to do what we need to do for working class families. Think about that. One wing of one party has that kind of power. You hear a lot of talk about it every time there's an election or a Republican primary. The Republican leadership tries to say the Tea Party's lost its influence. And plenty of them seem to think, you know, if we just wait it out, this fever will break. The Republican leadership thought they could control the Tea Party. Instead, the Tea Party controlled them. They sowed the wind, and now we're all reaping the whirlwind. I know, because I saw it firsthand. People ask me all the time, my friends, Charlie, why did you become a Democrat? And then I tell them it's because the leadership of today's Republican Party has become anti-women, anti-gay, anti-labor, anti-environment, anti-immigrant. Pretty soon there's nobody left. So we need to do something different. You know, when I was governor before, it was never about right versus left. It was always about right versus wrong. That's why I accepted stimulus funding from a Democratic president, even as other Republicans were turning it down, because it was simply the right thing to do. That's why I hugged him. Thank God for him. That's why I refused to lower retirement program benefits for state employees as a governor, and took steps to improve their safety in the workplace. It's why I vetoed bills that would have cut teacher bonuses, eliminated tenure, and imposed an unfair grading system on Florida's educators. Somebody's got to say no. Enough is enough. And that's why, even in the midst of the Great Recession, I invested historic levels in our state's education system, because it's the right thing to do. That's why I extended early voting hours in 2008. And I was a Republican then. And all of them were telling me it would benefit then Senator Barack Obama. But I didn't care, because it was the right thing to do. That's why I cut prescription drug costs for Florida seniors and cut property taxes for our middle-class families, because it was the right thing to do. Doing the right thing for middle-class families used to be something we could all agree on. But on virtually every issue that matters to Florida's middle-class families, when it comes to taking even a single step to make it a little easier for those families to pay the bills, to raise our kids, and to save for retirement, Rick Scott and the leadership of the Republican Party refused to lift a finger. Let me wrap up by summing it up this way. That's the fight we're facing in Florida and in states across the country in 2014. It's a fight we're in together, and it can seem daunting sometimes, especially when you think about how much money they'll throw at us. We all know it's coming, but no matter how much they spend, and my opponent has said he'll spend $100 million. They can't hide their past. They can't cover their tracks. They can't spend 3.5 years looking out for the wealthy and the powerful and those at the top, and then pretend to care about people during election year. You're smarter than that. People in Florida are smarter than that. But it's our job to get them out and remind them. And no one does that better than you all. And let me say, I'm thrilled about the opportunity. It's been a dark 4 years in Florida, but I'm an optimist, and I'm hopeful about the future of my state. I'm blessed to live in the greatest state, in the greatest nation on earth. With all due respect to the state of Illinois and Ohio.
He wants to take a picture.
I love Florida.
You're going to follow him to the back.
I love Florida. I love it with all my heart. And I love America. And I love working people throughout my state and my country. And that's why I'm in this race. Brothers and sisters, I need your help. Florida needs your help. If you stand with me for the next 3.5 months, I'll stand with you with working families, working moms, dads, young men, women, trying to make better lives for themselves for the next 4 years.